Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a super fun and colorful project for you guys. We will be creating a beach scene with lots of fun elements. I'll be using my SimonSaysStamp Positively Saturated Inks to ink blend my background, and we have some waves and a sandy beach and a bunch of little colored images and a lot more. This is a fairly simple card to create. There is no complex techniques involved here. All we do is play with colors and bring in all those little stamped images to create a beautiful card front. Before we get started, I would really appreciate if you could take a minute to subscribe to my channel and make sure to hit the bell icon so that you get notified each time I post a new video. Let's take a look at the stamp set that I'll be using to create the elements of our beach scene. This is the Life is Good stamp set from Lawn Fawn. This set contains a cute crab, sandcastle, lighthouse, palm tree, hammock, plus lots of accessories and matching sentiment. The set comes with coordinating dies. Even the thinnest element that we stamp using the stamp set has a coordinating die, which is really wonderful. You will see I already have some tiny purple tapes on these dies. That is because I went ahead and stamped and die cut out a bunch of these images ahead of time so that I have them ready to go whenever I want to create a project. Also, it's a good time to have multiples of these same images like I will be doing in this card today. I'll be using 2 of those palm trees instead of just one, and also will have a bunch of those little coconuts. I color most of these images using my alcohol markers and die cut them and store them in small containers. Let us now create our scene. I'll be using the SimonSaysStamp Positively Saturated Inks to blend all over my background panel. I will begin by masking half of the panel using some post-it sheet. This will be the line between my horizon and a boundary where I will create my sky. I have 2 shades of the Positively Saturated Inks. The first one you see here is called Seafoam, which is more of a teal color. It gives a very light blue shade. Next, I will use a slightly darker blue, which is Marine. I love how easily the transition has been between these 2 blues. Well, note that I'm not looking for any perfect lines or blending. I only want to keep it as natural as possible. Next, I want some light waves on my beach. For that, I'll be using a little darker shade of blue, which is Cadet, and I'll be using the SimonSaysStamp Build a Frog Pond stencil. Very light-handedly, I'm building up waves on my water. Now I can remove my masking sheet and place it over the water. The plain white panel over my water feature will be our sky. I wanted to have more of a sunset kind of a look, so I'm going to bring in some of my yellows, oranges, pinks and purples. For the yellow shade, I'm using the SimonSaysStamp Positively Saturated Mini Ink Cube in this shade CITRINE. This will be my sun, setting in the horizon. I'm using my blending brush to make the sun. It's not a perfect circle, but it definitely gives a more blended kind of shading when I add the next color, which is Sherbet. It's the darkest orange shade that I have in my stash. Next, I will be using the mini ink cube in the shade Rose to add slight hint of pink on my sky. I will darken the edges using the shade Amethyst. You can go in a little darker, but well, here I guess I'll stop at this. Once I'm done in blending, I removed the masking paper and now my sky and water is ready, so it's time to create our beachy sand. I wanted to use a border die which gives more of a hilly kind of a look that would separate the land from water. Well, I did not have any hill die, so I will be using my border die with a scalloped edge. I use this die on a white piece of cardstock. To create my hill, all I need to do is cut away the edge of this border piece. This is a trick where you can make use of products in a totally different way to create something entirely different than what it is intended for. I cut out 2 such pieces for my sandy beach. Well, now I'll be using Cappuccino and Mocha shades of brown to color these pieces. Once I was done with my ink blending, I went ahead and stuck the bigger sand panel directly onto my background using some strong double-sided tape and then adhered the front panel using some foam tape. Now that my background is completely ready, we can start creating our little beachy scene. I will bring out all the little colored images and we can stick them onto this background panel. Before I stick them down, I like to first arrange all of these images just to make sure that they look good on my card front. For most of these images, I'll be using my Barely Art glue to stick them down in place. You will see that I had to skip my little sandcastle because there was simply no room for it on my card front, when I can use it on some other project along with the other images that I have die cut in the beginning of this video. Once I stuck down all the images, now we can add some finishing touches to our card front. I am using this dark brown alcohol marker and adding some dots on my sand just to give an illusion of some texture to my scene. Well, at this point is where I remembered I had not added any sentiment to my card. Also at this point I didn't want to stamp any sentiment on the card front since just in case I mess it up, I mess the entire card. Also, I am so happy with the end result with all this coloring and the stamped images that I didn't want any kind of sentiment strip over it to cover any part of it. So instead, I decided to add a little die cut sentiment which would be small enough not to cover any part of this beautiful background. So I have this hello die which is part of the Lawn Fawn platform pop-up clear die set. I got out the word hello using some scrap piece of black cardstock. I stuck the hello onto our horizon using the precision tip of my Barely Art glue. An easy way to line up your letters is to use the negative space of the die cut piece and inlaying your letters into that negative space. Now let's create our card base. For that I have this piece of black cardstock cut to 11 by 4 1/4 inch. I will score it at 5.5 inch to create a top folding note card. Using a tape runner, I glued the front of this note card on which we can now fix our card front. For some shine to our card, I will be using the Spectrum Noir Glitter brush pen on the little colored images followed by my white gel pen along those images to add some extra shine. I had so much fun creating this card. I hope you had fun watching it too and got inspired. All the supplies can be found linked in the description box below. I would love for you to become a subscriber to my channel, and if you do subscribe or are already a subscriber, please make sure to hit the bell icon so that you don't miss the next time I post. Hit the like button and let me know in the comments down below if you have any ideas or suggestions for a future video. Also, if you'd like to share your creations, please tag me on my Instagram at rp_shutterbug. There's a link to that in the description box below. Thank you again for joining me today. Until next time, stay safe.